Jennifer Biedermann here from Jennifer Biedermann Jewelry. Today I am going to be making this very simple and elegant ring. There's no soldering involved. It's just a simple wire wrap and it's absolutely stunning. I've been wearing this. I made this ring on Friday. I've been wearing it all weekend, and because it's so unique, so many people, when I go out to the store or whatever, I'm getting comments, so that's a good thing. Now, I have a 10, in this actual ring, I have a 10 millimeter turquoise Swarovski Rivoli. I'm not going to use this one in the tutorial, okay? I have some stones out here, because you can do this with anything. This is a round 10 millimeter Rivoli, as I just said. And I brought out a little oval amethyst. I brought out a square Swarovski Rivoli. I brought out a 12 millimeter Rivoli and a rectangle one as well, because you can do this with any of these. That's why I'm bringing them out. This one is actually, I measured it. Anyway, I'll show you later how I measure, or if you buy these and then you don't keep the package, you don't remember the measurement. This is a rectangle, and then we have this big one. And this is a 10, this is a 14 millimeter if you want something very large. I don't know what I'm using yet. I think I may use this rectangle one. It's a purple, I love it. Or I may use this one, this oval amethyst. So the materials you're going to need for this, and not everyone's going to have this on hand, so I'm going to give you some options. For the ring band, I got this wire at Rio Grande. It's a patterned wire, and I got it in a long piece. Here it is. And if you don't have this, I'm going to give you the measurements of what I have. See, it's like this. It's a little bit rounded here. But again, not everyone has this. So you can use something like a round wire, a little bit larger. You want it larger than 18 gauge, by the way. I'm using, this also is a sterling silver. This is 16 gauge. You can use 16 or larger for the ring. What else are you going to need? You will need, I'm using 22 gauge base wires here. This is all sterling silver. If you don't have sterling silver, obviously you don't need to use that. You can use your, whatever you have. You can use copper. It doesn't matter. It'll come out the same. You will also need a file. Okay, because what I did here, when you cut, you need to file your ends to round them out. If you don't have a file, get some sandpaper, okay? And also, what I'm doing, I'm reviewing some pliers, a plier set here for BB Crafts. They sent me this plier set. It's called Comfort Pliers. They send you 4, and you've got chain nose pliers, you've got some cutters, you've got some round nose pliers, and you've got some needle nose pliers. This is something that I don't have in my tool set. I only have like these chain nose pliers, but the needle nose really lets you get into tight spots. So I'm going to be using these for this project. It's BB Craft, and again, they send these to me to review, and I'm going to review them, and guess what? For any beginner out there, do not spend a bunch of money on tools. You want to invest your money on materials like wire and focal pieces. That's what you're going to spend your money on. For tools, just get yourself something cheap. It does the job. There's a lot of pliers out there where you can get one set of pliers for $80. I've been doing this for about a decade now, and I've never spent 80 bucks on a pair of pliers. Never. If someone wants to send them to me so I can do a review, by all means, send it to me. But in this case, I spend all my money on materials. So, website, this set, and it's actually a really comfort set. I like the way that it's shaped. This cost $11.47. Wow. I've been using this for a few projects, and you know what? It does the job. I'm happy with it. So if you want a good set to start, this is a set for you. Okay? Round nose pliers, cutters, chain nose, and needle nose pliers. So I think that's about it. If you're cutting a big piece of wire, if you're not using what I'm using, get some shears. If you don't have shears, I would not cut a big piece of wire with these. It's just going to ruin your cutters. Either a very good set of flush cutters. I don't use these. I'll use it to cut something, but I don't use these type of cutters. I use flush cutters or my shears. So I think that's about it. And get your materials together if you want to make this ring with me. If not, stay tuned and we'll get started. Okay, so what I decided to use was this rectangle Swarovski. I'm taking my patterned wire that I got from riogrande.com, and just to give you the measurements, the outer part is 3.5 by 1.4. Again, you don't need to use this. Use the biggest wire you have in the house, but larger than 18 millimeter, okay? Just in case. Okay, so, in the material list, what I forgot to mention, you need a ring mandrel, okay? Now, when I'm going to go, I want, for my finger, I have big fingers. This is a size 7, which fits on my little finger here. I want a size 8.5, 8. So let's say I wanted size 8. I'm going to measure at an 8.5. And what I'm going to do is bring, because when we put the wire around the ring, it's going to shrink it up. It's going to make it a smaller size. So just check what finger you want this on and get the measurement you want. Let's say you want a size 10, measure at a 10.5. You want a 9, measure 9.5. Okay, but I want an 8. So I'm going to measure 8.5. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to bring this around. Hold on a second. 8.5, sorry, I'm in a very small spot here. Okay, so I took my wire and I'm here. Okay, you see that? Sorry. Now I'm just going to measure again, and I'm just going to bring it here. I'm probably going to have some scraps, but I have a torch that for my sterling silver, I never throw out my silver. I reuse it. So what I'll do, I'm going to take my flush cutters. If you have bigger wire than this, and I should use my shears actually, because they'll damage my flush cutters, but whatever, that's what I have. And I'm just going to cut here. Boom. Okay. So now I have this, and I'm going to bring that around my ring mandrel. I want an 8.5, so I'm just checking. And then what I'm going to do is just bring these bits up here. Which is way too much what I need. Okay, so again, if you're using sterling silver, just please make sure because these pieces I'm going to melt down and use in another project, so I'm not too worried about it. I have this, I'm going to go back around 8.5, but I'm going to be using this one, and I think I'm good. So I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'll adjust later, okay, let's not worry about it. So round nose pliers, I'm going to get right at the tip, right there. And I'm just going to turn that like that. And I'm going to do the other side. In the same spot, I'm going to turn it over like that. Now, look how wonky that is. I'm going to get it back on the ring mandrel, get it where I want it, and I'm going to just push this in. I'm going to push it in because, see this piece? I need it to sit right here, but not on top. I don't want it sitting on top. I want it to be exactly the same space as right here. So I'm going to open it up a bit, and I want it, sorry, this is fiddly, but I want it like this. A little bit of space in between, slightly, but I'm going to put it back on the main ring mandrel just to double check. Now, when I'm at 8.5, I'm putting my stone here. Now, it's not sitting there because I have a point. Just bear with me. I'm putting my stone here, and I'm just checking. And I'm trying to get you guys to see. Hold on. Let me grab it with this. Okay. I want my stone to fit right in there, and it does at 8.5. Okay. And we're going to continuously check the fit. And you can get some, like a nylon hammer. You should have that in your tools, a nylon hammer. I didn't put that in material list, sorry. But, you don't want to use the other hammer because we have a pattern on this. Now, again, 8.5 is going to make it probably an 8. So, now, this is a little bit not straight, so I'm going to take these pliers and just straighten everything out. So right now, this is what we have. Because we need to get a stone in there. Again, I'm going on my mandrel, always checking. Checking my mandrel, making sure that it's nice and round. And then the next step, we need to make a seat. Otherwise, this is going to fall down. You need to make a little seat for this stone to sit on. So we're going to get our 22 gauge wire. If you don't have 22 gauge, get 20 gauge. Don't worry about it. But don't go 18 gauge. Do 22 or 20. Now I'm just going to cut myself a little piece. I'm not measuring. I'm going to take these little cutters from the package of these pliers. I don't know how long this is, but it's approximate. And now I'm going to create a little seat here. So what I'm going to do is go under here. I'm going to see what I'm going to do here. Hold on. Under here, little bit of a tail. And I'm just going to go around this piece just to anchor. And then I'm going to go across, go under and around. And I'm making, like I said, just something that my stone can sit on. Now this one's coming out a bit, so I'm just going to grab this and yank it a bit. Now be careful how tight you do this, because if you do it too tight, it's going to make your ring smaller. So now that I'm here, I'm going to go around the ring and cut this piece off. So you're going to go around the ring shank, under, around like this, and we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing. My little tail that I have, I'm going to go around, and I'm going to take my pliers to help me with this. You want everything Nancy neat. I'm going to go around. I cut a bit too much wire for this, but it's okay. And we are going to pull this one over here, just so it sits right there and I don't need to cut it. And there's my little seat. Now this one, I'm going to, because I did the same rotations, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. I use my flush cutters. I don't use the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'll melt that down for something else. And you want to really pinch everything together. So here's my seat. Now, I'm going to take my stone before I adjust everything, and I'm just going to have this stone sit here. Sitting there. It's a nice, it's exactly the way I want it, but I'm going to go in here and I'm going to open this a little bit. Just like that. Pinch over here, but we want it depending on the size of the stone. And let's just check. Now, in the material list, I forgot to mention you're going to need some glue. I don't like using glue in my jewelry, okay? But we absolutely need it for this, so that this stone sits on the seat, and then we need to wrap. So it's not going to affect anything. You're just going to turn it around, and you want to add some glue here so that this stone sits there, because if I start wrapping, the stone's going to be moving around. Because when I did this ring, you know, it's not taking me too long to do this ring, but it took me about 4 hours to figure out how to get this stone to sit. But after probably 3 hours, I said, hey, glue. So the glue I'm using, you can use E6000, but I find, you know, this glue, you won't see it. It's going to dry up and you won't see it. It's called Super New Glue. And what I'm going to do, let me just get this down here, because these wires need to be really connected to the piece. So I'm going to sit exactly the way I want it. And I'm going to turn it around, hold it with my finger, and I'm going to take my glue. Again, I really don't like using glue with my pieces, but in this case we have to. And I'm just going to put a little dab, just so that stone sits and is connected with that wire. And I need to hold this for about probably a good minute. So let me hold this. I'll be back and I'll make sure it's attached, and we're going to go to the next step. Okay, so now my stone is in place. I don't have to worry about it moving anywhere. I cut myself a piece of 22 gauge, about a foot, okay? And now we're going to encase this. So I need to find a spot where, hold on. I'm going to find a spot right here, and I'm going to go right under. And I'm going to leave myself a tail so that I can, I hope I'm on camera. Okay. I'm leaving myself a bit of tail. And what I'm going to do with this tail is I'm going to go around the shank. And we're going to keep this, again, Nancy neat. You're going to take pliers, just to anchor everything, and just put it there. You can cut it now or cut it later. Now, what I want to do is now I'm going to encase this. So I'm going to go over here, the first, and I'm going to bring this wire through. And we are going to go right next to that one, like that. And then go through the ring shank. You want these wires sitting very close to each other. Pull, nice and taut. We're going to go around again, right next to the next one, just until the stone sits right, like really sits there, because when the glue dries, okay, I don't like using glue, but once it dries, it could come apart. So we really want this. So I'm going to go again. I'm going to go around, really making sure this sits, and I'm going to go again. Sitting right next to the other one. And I think I will go around again. Right next to the other one. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now that I come over here, I'm not going to go around again here. Now what I want to do is just make sure everything is nice and taut, and that nothing is coming undone. Okay, now what I want to do is go to the other side. So I'm just going to see what's happening here. I'm going over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. Right next to the other one. You don't want anything overlapping. You want it very nice and Nancy neat. I keep saying that, Nancy neat. And we're going to do the same amount that we did on the other side. And this stone is going to stay in place. Again. Push it through. I probably cut too much. And I'm just going to make sure everything's sitting, and then again. And we push it through. And we look at the other side, we do it again. And we push it through. Now we're going to count how many we did on this side. I'm going to push these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over on this side, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do another one. Beautiful. And we push it through. And what do we do with this excess wire? Well, we will go around the shank like this, push it through, and bring it over here. We're going to go ahead and cut that. And we need to take our pliers and really make sure everything is sit the way we want. Now, on this side, again, we have this piece that we didn't cut. We want to just make sure everything is very nice and right up next to each other, because we are selling these and we need to be perfect. Cut and push. Now, at this point, this is encased. What a beautiful, beautiful piece. We are going to make sure everything's sitting the way it needs to sit. Very unique. Now what we want to do, remember I said these, we need to start just making sure this is rounded. We do it on this side as well. And I find this piece a little bit longer than the other side. So, you know what I'm going to do? I don't know if I can bring that up. But I just want to really make sure that this is rounded as well. Because right now, as I look at it, this side is shorter than this one. But it's handmade, so what do you want to do? But I'll work on this until you just... You know what I mean? Just do that. This one came up, this little piece of wire came up. We want to really make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get in there. So what I'll do, that's fine. That's fine. It can't be perfect because, again, it's handmade. Now, I'm going to take my other, this is a very soft file, or whatever you want to say. It's whatever it is. But you want to just... the ends, make sure they're nice and shiny. Do it over here as well. And I'm going to go in here and just make sure these bits are rounded. And I should have done that before I actually did the stone. I think we're good. When I do that, I always go in with my, just to, you know, do a little cleanup. Now, remember we wanted an 8, so let's get this back on the mandrel. Before we do that, I just want to make sure these are sitting the way they're supposed to sit. I'm sure it's a lot smaller. And I'm at a 7. Okay, so to get this bigger, I'm going to take my nylon and I'm just going to hit it. And this is going to stretch everything out. You're going to hammer it that got it to, right, okay, now I'm gonna turn it. And you know what, I'm gonna say something. I had it an 8.5. This made it a 7 because, try not to hit your stone like I'm doing. Don't do that. But I'm gonna hammer, hammer, hammer until I get the size I want, because this is gonna stretch everything. I'm gonna keep doing that until I get the size I want. So I'm hammering it down the mandrel, and I'm gonna be very gentle here. Don't hammer too much. And hit, 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 hit. Take it off. Change the direction. Now, I see these wires going off a bit. I'm just going to make sure they stay where they need to be. That's fine. And we're going to keep hammering until you get the size you want. Because you can hammer for full size, by the way. I'm not hitting my stone. I'm just getting it down the mandrel. And I'm going to do it again. Hammer it down this mandrel and I needed a size 8. Okay, my God. I'm going to continuously hammer this because I need a size 8. Now, just manipulate this so everything's sitting nicely next to each other. And what we need to do, again, is just hammer until we get to the size we want. And I'm not going to bore you with this because could take me another 30 minutes. Okay, and I'm just going to hammer, 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 hammer until I get the size I want, which is an 8. And right now, see, I'm at a 7.5, but I'm going to get this to an 8. So that's it. That's the tutorial. Beautiful ring. I'm very, very happy with it. It's exactly like this one, but this one's a rectangle, this one's a round, and you can use any size you want. So if you like this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up. It helps people find my videos. And if you like to share it, go ahead and share it. And if you want to comment, please comment. If you have any questions, I'm always here to answer your questions. Oh, so beautiful. I'm so happy. I don't know what I'm going to call this. Crystal horns. I don't know, because this looks like horns here. If you have a name, let me know. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to do another tutorial on how to do this exact ring, but not with this Rio Grande pattern. I'm going to do it with a different gauge round wire to help you if you need. So happy. Thank you. I'll see you at the next video. Bye.